A long time ago, on a comics page far, far away.
Welcome to Panel Up, your monthly pop culture panel. I'm John Campbell.
And I am Mike Gargoni.
Oh, Gargoni, or should I say greetings program.
You could, but I'm a real boy, John. I'm a real boy. Do I need to start quoting Frankenstein at you?
Yeah. Nah, save that. Save that for, well, we'll talk about that over on Meet the Monsters, actually. But because everyone in Hollywood has decided to make a Frankenstein movie now.
I did see the trailer for The Bride in front of this, and boy, I have no idea what that movie is, other than I guess like
I'm not
Bonnie
in love
and
with
Bonnie and Clyde meets the Frankenstein story. I guess is the pitch.
Yeah. I'm not psyched about it. Although I mean I love Christian Bale, but it feels like it's totally in my face.
It is totally in your face, and here comes the motherfucking bride. Though I noticed in the theater version of the trailer, they splashed across the fucking with a blood smear.
Yeah, of course. Because kids, man, kids.
We can't have the kids seeing words and reading them.
Kids who love cult 80s science fiction movies.
Which, the head at the end, that's a reference to the brain that wouldn't die, right?
Yeah. Not anything to do with Frankenstein, per se.
Yeah. So I don't know what this movie is, but I'm intrigued.
Someone on the blank shout out to the fellow blankies on the blank check subreddit. The best description I heard of it, somebody goes, "Oh, it's Joker for girls."
Oh my! Well, that's a description and a half, isn't it?
But it's got some of that twisted Joker energy to it. To me. I don't know. Like I said, I like a lot of the people involved. But anyway, there's my thoughts on The Bride. I'm more excited about the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein, which surprises no one.
I mean, look, I too am also very excited for that film because it is a film by Guillermo del Toro, and thus I am excited.
It's true. Even if it wasn't Frankenstein, that man making anything is exciting.
I will say, I see icy wasteland vistas in that trailer, and I'm like, oh, give me that sweet, sweet mountains of madness. Come on, baby.
I mean, look, he's been trying to make this forever. Let's see if he can do that, because that's the next passion project. I don't think there's any filmmaker, maybe more than him, that has the most canceled projects.
Right? Yeah.
There are so many movies he's almost made.
This is still the biggest what if for me that was like so close, like weeks away from this happening, was if he had stuck with The Hobbit, right?
Because, well, The Hobbit, you can still see in a couple places the Del Toro fingerprints. And
yeah.
Look, I know I'm probably even colder, but both of us have levels of disappointment with those movies. It would have been very different had he done it. That's all.
Sure.
I'm not going to say better. Though probably better, but but I just don't think he would have had anywhere near the same mindset as Jackson. So
if you want a good breakdown of what all went wrong with those films, go watch Lindsay Ellis's. I think it's like a 3-part video essay on the Hobbit films.
I mean, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, those movies are whatever. I mean, they're a whole thing. I don't want to get into it. Someday we'll do a Tolkien season over on IP Squad.
Ooh, okay.
And do the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, and then at that point, who knows how many fucking spin-offs that they've made at that point.
Well, and you'd have to do the Rankin Bass like animated films too.
Yes. Do those as well. Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I forgot about those. That'd be good, and especially. And then Andy Serkis is doing his Gollum movies or whatever. Jesus Christ.
I mean, look, okay, I'm sort of softening on Andy Serkis, but that might be recency bias just because I'm listening to the audiobooks read by him right now, and god damn, that guy can talk.
I love Andy Serkis as an actor. I just, to me, the part of my issue with that is the kind of the bummer of like, oh, you're going back to that, man? Like,
yeah.
I want to see the next creation from Andy Serkis, you know?
Sure. It can not be an ape or a golem.
Yeah. Keep playing Alfred and Batman. He's great. All of that to say, we saw Tron.
Speaking of squeezing blood from the stone of an ancient franchise.
Well, the interesting thing about the Tron franchise, right, is, and we're both big fans of this. Something I saw somebody pointed out, something that's like, was this even ever meant to be a franchise?
No,
no. It's an interesting thing. It feels like every 20 to 30 years they make a Tron movie. It comes out and doesn't do well, and then like 20 years later they decide to make another one that will come out and not do well.
Yeah, I look forward to whatever the next Tron movie is in 2040.
Yeah, people have joked about it. I can't wait for Tron 4 in 2045. It's an interesting example of franchise filmmaking, right? Where it is like there is a name recognition, there is a fan base, and it is something owned by and originated within Disney, right? This is not something they acquired. This is an original Disney creation.
Well, and there's this iconic nature to the imagery of it, right? That I would say the vast majority of people probably don't know what Tron is besides the aesthetic.
Yeah. I mean, they're aware that there's a thing called Tron, and they've probably seen some of the images, as you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, like they see the recognizer, they see like the neon, maybe the data disc, maybe the sky beam with the holding the disc up image might be something they recognize.
Well, I mean, there's an entire part of Disneyland that is the grid, right? And you can get on the light cycle rides and stuff like that. I mean, Tron as an aesthetic is a key component, or it's not a key component, but is something in the Disney milieu of stuff they sell. They've always had Tron merchandise, and
I would say aesthetic is a key component to Tron, though.
Sure. And so I think that's interesting. That I think there is people think it's cool. You know, I said you go to the Disney park, even if you don't know the movies, like the Tron section is cool.
Sure, and like the neon soaked kind of weird noir nature of it, like these like poppy lights on black is the Tron aesthetic, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the original movie was shot in black and white and then illuminated, basically. And so it created this incredibly, which they recreated in this movie, which was one of my favorite parts of this movie, when they actually recreate the visuals of the original film. But it's this very specific and striking mix of extreme dark and then these bright neon colors, right? Mm-hmm. That as a kid, just when I saw that movie, and I've seen it so many times, the original movie, it was just like, whoa, nothing looks like this.
Yeah, and nothing has looked like it. And then when we came back in 2010 with Tron Legacy, there was this sense of like, holy shit, this is what Tron can look like now. And like guys like you and I said that and was like, okay, let's fucking go. And the vast majority of audiences were just like, eh.
Yeah.
Which I think is, based on box office returns I've been seeing for this, is the exact same reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to end up making somewhere in the same realm. And even the original movie wasn't a huge hit. It was remembered for its visuals, but at the time didn't make money because they didn't jump in anything. It's a weird situation. It's like Blade Runner's like that too, right? Where it's the thing everybody remembers, and there's a hardcore nerd fan base for it, but it's never been massively financially successful. The original movie didn't do well. 2049 did, I think, okay.
Well, you know, but just to highlight that comparison, though, Tron Ares, I don't think is winning any Oscars as opposed to 2049.
Oh, I would
maybe technical.
I think visual effects. This movie is stunning.
This movie is very pretty, and there are some like really gorgeous shots, especially like some of the top-down stuff over the city when you see the light cycle chase happening in real time. That's some fun stuff.
They really deliver on, because I mean the big thing with this movie, right, was Tron meets real world.
Sure.
Which was always where
it's for real.
And that was always where the Tron movie, I mean, Legacy set that up, right? I mean, and actually, I was reading some of the behind the scenes of this movie. used still some of the concept art and designs that would have been the sequel they were planning to have come out just a couple years after Legacy. So some of this stuff, it wasn't going to be Ares, but the idea of whatever that sequel that Joe Kosinski, who made Legacy, was going to make. Some of these light cycle designs, some of these action set pieces, I think particularly the stuff with the light cycle chase with the police cars was directly going to be a set piece in that.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Some variation on that.
Legacy was made during a time where there was a lot of like, oh, we got to start our franchise because everyone was trying to play catch up with the MCU at that point, right? Like we hadn't quite gotten to Avengers yet, but it was very clear what Marvel was doing at the time, back in 2010. And so you had all of these like IPs coming out that it's like, oh, we're going to make our franchise now. We're going to kick things off. None more disastrous than the Dark Universe, obviously, but like...
Well, yeah, they had one movie and then it ended.
But you have like Gods of Egypt and Tron Legacy and the Titans movies, and like there was a whole slew of these genre films that were trying to make themselves into franchises.
Well, and Tron in that way
John Carter
of
Mars, obviously.
Yeah, but Tron had that thing about the nostalgia play, right? Which is this idea that like, wow, people like that, man. We feel like this is a safe bet because we already know people like this, which is a weird thing when you actually go back. People forget that the original Tron really didn't make a ton of money.
I feel like this movie is playing for all the same. It was made for all the same reasons, plus a big Jared Leto-sized contractual obligation, and.
Oh no, contractual obligation. This is a Jared Leto. This movie exists because of Jared Leto.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he is a driving force in this film for better and for worse. I know you're hotter on him than I am, John, but like he is an elephant and an albatross around this movie that I just could not get over.
That's on you. I think he's great.
I think that's on a lot of people.
I think he's really good.
He's fine as an actor, but like you hear so many movies about him being a creep or so many stories about him being a creep that it's really hard to get over centering him in a film.
Each their own on that.
Okay. Like, I can discuss this film on its own merits. I absolutely can. But like, you gotta understand that I think I and a lot of people are like, there are going to be people who will avoid this movie specifically because he's at the center of it.
Sure. I mean, that has nothing to do with the discussion of the film itself, though.
I suppose. But it does play into how the need for a franchise starter or a franchise continuation is going to be held back by that factor.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know that he is a polarizing figure for a lot of people. I will say I saw it in a pretty full theater of people who seem to enjoy it.
I saw it in a completely empty IMAX theater. It was me and two other people.
Sure. I mean, that I saw it literally the day it came out, which is a different thing.
And I saw it on the following Thursday. So, yeah. But like, and the box office returns are sort of reflecting that. Like, there's going to be a huge drop off on this film.
Yeah, people are curious how it's going to open in China, where it has yet to open. That I think it will probably do better there. But,
visual treat for the eyes usually does well overseas.
I think it'll end up doing about the same as Legacy, where it will be like nobody's going to get fired over it, but it's not gonna spawn anything. And I keep seeing these headlines where they go like, well, after Tron Ares, Disney has killed the franchise permanently. And I just read somebody go,
ridiculous.
But somebody just goes, that's the story of being a Tron fan. Every time they make a movie, it kills the franchise permanently. It's just like, I said, it's just a weird thing where it's just like, oh, and another Tron movie didn't make money.
Yeah. The weirdest one for me is always going to be Tron Uprising, right? Because it feels like animated TV show is such a slam dunk for this franchise in terms of being able to continually tell stories.
I think the problem there was just that they didn't have a good place for it, right? That was in the days of Disney XD.
Yeah.
I think Disney Plus will be the future of Tron, whether that be an animated or a live action show at some point. Feels like probably where, because Tron, well, it's as we're talking about, it's too well known and aesthetic and thing. I have no doubt there will be another Tron thing.
Sure.
What
Yeah.
that is, I don't know. But it does feel like probably for TV. But once again, the idea that it's just like, well, after this, number one, what IP ever dies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look,
Somebody will come
ultimately,
around.
the thing I want most dearly in my heart of hearts, in the
Mhm.
core of my programming, is
Yeah.
give me Cyberpunk 2077, but set on the grid.
Sure. I mean, and I feel like a cool Tron video game feels like it's, yeah, totally possible.
Yeah.
And then if that hits, if that's how these things always go, right? If a Tron video game came out and was hugely popular, then they're like, oh shit, we should make another movie. It's
And that's what happened
the
with The
idea
Witcher. That's what's happening with Cyberpunk right now.
anything, yeah, anything that's recognizable. But yeah, this one, as I said, like him or not, we got this movie because there's a huge Tron fan in Jared Leto. He was very clear. He's a producer on this movie. He
Mhm.
shepherded this thing. I think spent the better part of a decade, convincing Disney to make this movie.
Well, because he, like, I don't know if he didn't, like, he bought some stake in the next Tron movie basically right out of the gate with the
Yeah.
caveat of, like, I have to be the guy in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was developed as a Jared Leto project. I mean, a lot of
Right.
movies start to do that. Yeah. He speaks very earnestly, though, about like, I saw Tron as a kid and it just lit my imagination on fire.
Sure, I think
And
that's true for a lot of people who have seen Tron.
if there was any way to be in that. So, I think to him, this is a real labor of love. And I think, once again, regardless of your thoughts on him, I think that did convince Disney at some point to go like, well, there's a movie star attached to this. Okay, that's going to maybe give us more of a, inkling to make this.
Sure,
If we can
and
package this into a deal.
I think that when this movie was being made initially, there was probably more of a hype around Leto as the actor because he's coming off of things like Blade Runner.
It is interesting that he's also in Blade Runner 2049, right? That and famously those movies came out the same year, 1982, maybe the best year for cinematic science fiction ever. It's like a magical year when you get Blade Runner, Tron, Wrath of Khan, The Thing, E.T. It's an absurd year where like and actually most of those movies I mentioned bombed though, which is always a great. Yeah, Blade Runner wasn't successful. The Thing was a disaster. I mean, people forget that after The Thing, they were like, I don't think Carpenter's ever going to work again. He just blew it big time, and you're like, oh, by making his masterpiece, yeah.
Yeah, by making one of the most iconic sci-fi horror films of all time.
But when it came out, people were like, Jesus, he botched that one hugely.
Sure.
So yeah.
But I'm
Anyway,
just saying, when they put the green light on this project, we hadn't quite gotten to Morbius.
no. Although hey, in retrospect, I think that was the most successful of the Sony movies.
It was definitely the most entertaining. I'll grant you that.
Oh yeah, those got increasingly worse. Morbius is watchable, and then it descends from there. And I'm not saying Morbius is great. I'm just saying like you can watch Morbius as a movie that generally makes sense scene to scene. By the time you get to Craven is just so bad. So yeah, but because I mean, when did we hear that? I mean, this has been probably at least 5-6 years.
Oh yeah, I
make Tron Ares.
I remember hearing Tron Ares, I think like 2018, 2019, and being like, well, that's a working title, right?
Nope, that's what it's called.
Yep. Well, I know that now.
Yeah, it's in theaters. I did see this. Did you? You did see it in IMAX.
I did see it in IMAX. I will say, if you're going to see this movie, and Mike Gargoni's like one sentence review of this movie before we get into like spoiler territories and stuff is I think it's an amazing new Nine Inch Nails soundtrack stapled to a pretty good movie. And if you're gonna see it in IMAX, because boy, the sound on this thing just honks. It rules.
Yeah, no, it's this is the kind of movie that demands to be seen on the biggest screen with the loudest sound.
Like there are going to be theaters next to IMAX theaters being like, "Fuck Tron."
Yeah. It's something, man. I will say it really is a cinematic experience.
Sure. And again, there are scenes in this that are fucking gorgeous.
Oh my God.
The whole chase scene through the grid when they are on that like water scooter. I don't know how else to describe
yeah,
that thing.
yeah. The light jet ski thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, rad.
That ruled the whole sequence with all the different with the recognizer going through the city is awesome. There's
I mean the incursion of the Dillinger programs into the NCOM grid that turns into like a giant battle, and just the idea of the red guys coming into the blue city and all that stuff is just
this is the first Tron thing that deals with like multiple grids existing simultaneously. And obviously we spend absolutely zero time in the NCOM grid. But the Dillinger grid is more of the like, why is that one just coded evil? Because that's the bad guy company.
The bad guys. I mean, that's always been Tron, right? The idea about just like, we're the bad program, so we're red and we fuck shit up, you know?
I will say, Tron is a franchise that is incredibly hand wavy about the like, hey, this isn't that kind of movie, pal. Like, just don't think about it. This one is the most of those.
It's an interesting thing where I've seen people be like, man, this is just like an action movie instead of a heady sci-fi movie. I'm like, they've all been kind of like that. They all like give lip service to
Legacy was the most trying to be like
and
heady sci-fi.
I do think this movie is a conscious calculation away from being that. I think this one is trying. To me, this is the most like down the middle crowd pleaser action movie of the bunch. I think because Legacy got so in the weeds about mythology, which people like you and I love that. But when you have, Bridges monologuing about like what metaphysical
biodigital jazz, man.
Biodigital jazz, yeah, that kind of stuff where I think a lot of people are just like, what can they just ride the little light cycles real fast?
Yeah, and like there's a little bit of that in this movie about like contemplating the nature of sentience.
Oh yeah, it's still there, but it definitely is. This thing's about 2 hours on the button and moves. This thing moves. This is an action movie. And I think
when you start this movie with a sequence from Live, Die, Repeat, where we got to kill Jared Leto 1,000 times.
Yeah. So cool. The idea of like, I'm building you by the way, spoilers for Tron Ares, of course. We'll have to put that there because if we don't, people get mad. But yeah, you start with this whole sequence where they're just destroying Jared Leto and then building him up again and again. And every time he digitizes.
Is the implication that he remembers? Because here's where like I need some more of that stuff because it becomes plot relevant. Does he remember every time he dies?
I think he at least remembers that he dies, right? Because he sort of knows that he's expendable in some way.
Right, but like the Jared Leto that we eventually are following, does he have every previous life's experience in him, or is it just a full reset with the program updates built into this new version of him?
I imagine he's got some level of memory. Otherwise, like the whole idea that he's formed this personality and this soul and these opinions has got to be some level of retainment, right? Isn't that sort of the point of the character?
I don't know. That's one of the like hand waviness they get through in this movie is just like, I don't know if Ares as a character is remembering every iteration or not. So you either read it as he's slowly gaining complexity over the course of all these different iterations, and that complexity is being written in by the programmer, not necessarily retained by Ares himself. Or that complexity is being built by Ares himself over the course of these iterations, and then reading Frankenstein somehow triggers him into saying, oh, fuck this.
I mean, the whole thing, right, with these movies and the biodigital jazz man of it all is, I don't know the specific, because the movie doesn't get into the, but I mean,
again, very hand-wavy.
Well, I took it to be that, there's at least some kind of echo of that. But I mean, the whole point of this, right, is always, and it's classic, so much science fiction stuff in anything about artificial intelligence in these sort of movies, whether that be robots or computer programs here, is like Dillinger doesn't understand that he's created sentience, right?
Sure.
Or at least doesn't respect that he's created sentience.
Mm-hmm. No, that's for Gillian Anderson to go, "Ah, you did this, that," and then die.
She's in the movie a lot more than that. But yeah, she is there. I do want to understand. I'm trying to understand how she's the one Dillinger that isn't evil, having seen all these movies.
Her here feels like we missed a movie from the like late 90s that was her being a bad guy that learned her lesson.
Easily could be, because I mean, of course, we're all going back to David Warner in the original movie as Dillinger, and then there's a tiny bit of people forget Cillian Murphy in Tron Legacy as Dillinger's son.
So is that, I guess,
that would
Anderson's
be
brother,
and then Evan Peters' father, right? Or no, uncle.
Okay,
Because this is her son.
right.
Evan Peters is playing her son, who is the grandson of Dillinger, who's now like full tech bro whiz kid.
Sure, yes.
And boy, he is going for it in this movie.
I think Evan Peters is the most entertaining actor in this film.
He's amazing in this, and I want to see him play a Bond villain now, because his energy in this thing. I've always really liked Evan Peters. He's a guy who can kind of do anything. Like a lot of actors that I enjoy. You know, he can be really sweet and lovable to absolutely terrifying to Ralph Boner, you know.
But there's a scene in this film where he is doing the classic like villain who maybe was doing it just for the money, but then eventually like making the logical leap to murder, as we are wont to say.
To go back to our Incredible Hulk days.
He plays that moment where he makes the logical leap to murder very good.
He finds a lot of levels in a guy who is, on paper, a cackling supervillain. But there's a lot of different levels to this character that I really like, to the point where there were a couple times I'm like, oh, is he realizing the error of his ways? Oh, no, he's doubling down and being even more evil.
Yeah.
You know, until, of course, you stayed for the credits, I'm assuming.
Yeah, of course.
So you saw him turn into Sark.
Part of me is just like, okay, movie, you got me. Nostalgia hooks are in me, and I want to see where this goes.
I pumped my fist when the triangle helmet showed up on his head.
Sure. I was like, oh, when the data disc showed up, and it was just the white and the red frisbee.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, even when he's running the program, because I love the idea of the cops are coming, I better escape into the grid. The idea of that's how you're going to get out of it is a pretty cool thing. And they go to arrest him, and he just digitizes. But I did see in the code, run program to Sark, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, and if there's one thing this movie is, it is a full-throated nostalgia play in a way that Tron Legacy even really wasn't.
In a different way than, because Tron Legacy was like, it's all the things you love grown up, baby. And this one is more like, it's all the things you love just as you remember them.
Right.
Because,
yeah.
I mean, it totally worked, man. I didn't know we were going to the original Tron grid in this thing. And oh boy, was I like, oh man, it's the 1982 grid. When he goes into the Flynn hard drive.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect your ancestors. Yeah. And when the bit shows up and goes, yes, like it was fun. I had the same sort of reaction to seeing the fully realized grid of Legacy now with the completely original grid, but in an original movie or in a modern movie. Now seeing it exactly, and the fact that they don't update it, and it's still those effects. It's clunky, and everything moves in right angles, and yeah.
And then of course, that's also where you get your Jeff Bridges, who's just a goddamn national treasure, is what he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I felt about him in this movie. It was clear. I mean, it just builds on nostalgia play, right?
He's amazing. He's God. He's literally God now.
Yeah, he's literally God now. I mean, this is the scene where I was hoping they were going to start waxing philosophical about the nature of sentience. And
I mean, they do.
they wax philosophical about the impermanence of life, and that's the whole switcheroo in this third act.
The
Is like, we're
permanence
looking,
code
our
is
MacGuffin for the film is the permanence code, which is something
Yeah.
absolutely invented for this film that didn't seem to be relevant before, but whatever.
Well, nobody was ever really trying to get anything out of the grid before, right?
Except for Olivia Wilde, who seemed to be just fine.
Yeah, but she's basically like a Jesus figure, right? I mean, the whole thing in Legacy is just like, yeah, well, she isn't even a program that was written, man. She like
That's true.
appeared out of, I mean, so she's already like a magic character. And I will say, there's definitely a for those who are just like, hey, what happened to all that stuff? Unfortunately, you'll have to wait 20 years for Tron 4 because the whole point of this movie is that the next movie is going to deal with all the Sam Flynn and Cora stuff.
Yeah, the fact that there was, like, during the opening credits of this film, when we get a bunch of newscasts to be like, it's been 15 years, here's catching you up.
Looks really cool.
Looks
I love
cool.
all the weird 3D grid stuff of the newscasters.
But, I don't know, it was definitely like, yes, the last movie happened. Now here's the new status quo.
Yeah. It's over there, and we'll bring them together. I mean, we've seen it before.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, technically what happened in the third Jurassic World movie.
There's a lot of, hey, man, yeah, those other people, that but I mean, I also understand that Disney's like, look, that one wasn't super. I know you nerds loved it, but like, we can't make a sequel to that.
There was no way in hell Olivia Wilde was coming back for this film.
I don't know. I don't even think anybody tried. Well, I don't know what was developed, but at least it became very clear this was doing its own thing once they were going to call it Tron Ares and build it around Jared Leto. It's like, okay, they're obviously just going a different direction.
But the end of this movie implies that Ares is now looking for crap. What's her name from that movie?
It's Quora.
Quora.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Quorra. Quora.
Yeah. Yeah. She can put on the flapper wig again.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's there for people who are that invested in the thing. That story isn't erased or done away with, but it's, once again, it's the imaginary Tron 4 that probably won't happen. But somehow, when they make another Tron movie, it will put the next one will have, there's this Jared Leto guy running around that we don't see but acknowledge is there,
But I mean, the fourth one has to. The implication at the end of this movie is, okay, we cracked the permanence code, and NCOM can now replicate whatever they want into the real world. They've created all these revolutionary, like, distribution of food and medicines, and
the world is
changed
a completely different place. Yeah.
So, like, whatever the fourth movie has to be, is just like, we're just living, the grid is the real world now, right? Like,
there's an interesting idea there where, the grid comes into reality and they start to, like, I mean, obviously it goes into some sort of singularity thing, right? Feels like the obvious connection of that.
Then you start dealing with what are the differences on a moral level between programs and humans?
Yeah. Oh my God. Program rights movie?
I'm saying.
I'm there for it. Let's talk about our current NCOM CEO, which is Greta Lee as Eve Kim. We haven't talked about her, who's really, the movie's really got two leads, right? I mean, it's Jared Leto as Ares and Greta Lee as Eve are, our main characters here.
I'm calling her Eve. I don't know. It sort of surprised me that they didn't just go straight for the throat of the metaphor and call Jared Leto's character Adam.
Well, I mean, because that would be very bad writing.
I mean, I don't know as if it's any worse than calling her Eve, as she is the mother of this new world.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's all right, But I feel like
calling the super badass war program Ares is a little on the nose.
Yeah, but he's at least a program that was created by a guy who would call it Ares, right? I mean,
sure.
Dillinger called it Ares.
The fact that Jodie Turner-Smith's character is named Athena also, like, it adds this weird, through line between Legacy and this movie, because Michael Sheen's character in Legacy was named Zeus.
Yes.
so there's this weird like through line of Greek mythology in the grid stuff, and is it just because nerds made all this?
I think that's the. I mean, that's my read on it, right? It's just the idea that because these are programs written by people who are like, yeah, man, Greek mythology, man, right?
Sure, it's right up there with like Peter Thiel and Palantir, right?
Yeah. I mean that it's got that vibe to it for sure, and so that's why they don't just happen to be named that, they were chosen to be that. I mean, he built the Ultimate Warrior that he named Ares.
Sure. But anyway, yes, Greta Lee's Eve is the new Encom CEO who's teetering on the edge of wanting to give up the company because in the backstory that we get at the start of the film, she had a sister. The two of them were in charge of Encom. Then the sister dies. Turns out it was a type of cancer, I believe. Yep. And now Eve is just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, but I want to finish my sister's work and wrap up her legacy before I quit the company.
And her sister, we come to discover, was like a Kevin Flynn super fan and knew that, had this idea that the answers must be in what Flynn started.
I love that all of this rolls back to Kevin Flynn, and there's almost no acknowledgement of like, well, Sam was in charge for like 10 or 15 years. Did he not pass on any of this knowledge at all, I guess?
We don't really get much of a sense of what Encom under control of Sam Flynn was like, exactly.
Yeah,
right?
We get a news headline at the start of this film that says he resigns for personal reasons, and that's it.
Yeah. And then took off with a mysterious woman. Like wild. And yeah, I mean, some of this is the metatextual nature of like, look, we just don't want to do Sam Flynn, okay, guys? we at Disney don't feel that's the best decision.
What's Garrett Hedlund up to these days?
He's on Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting an eyeful of him every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Every week as Stallone takes over Tulsa. In my city, I run Tulsa. And now the new spinoff, Nola King, where Samuel Jackson's going to run New Orleans.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Shared
it's about time he got one over on Society.
Taylor Sheridan's at it again. Now he can just have different kings of different cities, and he's got a whole new franchise.
I just want him to make the eventual leap from Landman to Skyman to Spaceman.
There you go. I do like. So I did hear somebody talk about every one of his shows is about somebody fighting for control of their land until he finally just made a show called Landman. Like, yeah, and it's great. I love all these shows. Anyway, yeah, that's where Garrett Hedlund is. He backs up Stallone in taking over Tulsa, and he plays the guitar and sings country music. So you get some songs.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, it's good. He's good on there. So anyway, yeah, she's running Encom, but it does seem like she's pretty checked out because she's off on her own mission, right? Because you have Hassan Minaj's character, AJ, who seems like the guy who's like, hey man, I'm doing the product demonstrations and she's not around.
He's like the COO or the CFO, something in there?
Yeah, I believe he's the CFO. He's the CEO, he's the CFO. And you get him at the cool product launch.
So here's where I get slightly confused. Encom is a video game company, I guess?
I mean, it's a tech company that the thing they say in the movie is that the Kim sisters brought back Space Paranoids, right? That was their big thing. Was they relaunched Space Paranoids, which of course, once again, going back to the first movie.
So Encom is our like Sony, I guess, where it's like they do make video games, but they do a lot of stuff.
They're a tech company, and
video Dillinger Systems is more like, I don't know, Raytheon?
Yeah. Because they're, at least under control of what's this Dillinger's name is Julian. Under Julian Dillinger, they seem more interested in military, right? Or at least that's where he's really pitching it. Because the movie opens with him doing a military demonstration for a bunch of army guys, going like, "Hey man, look, I can build you these super vehicles and generate soldiers
Right.
that can win wars.
And
But he can only do
I
it for
just
29 minutes.
I don't get the sense that Dillinger Systems is also making some kind of video game.
No, I don't. I'm not sure they're actually competitors in the market as much as they are both drawing from the same technology sources.
Sure.
Which is
somehow
this
Dillinger Systems
fantasy
has
world of
gotten their
space.
hands on the crazy Tron laser.
Well, because they've always been sniffing around, right? I mean,
I
Dillinger
guess.
was involved in NCOM in the original movie.
And I guess it's implied that there is at least one Dillinger on the board during Tron Legacy, because that was
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy before he went and made the bomb.
Yeah. I mean, look how that turned out, man. That's all I'm saying. Guy ends up making the atomic bomb. All right, that's what I'm talking. This Dillinger family's no good.
No good.
I
Very
think
bad.
also made some fear gas too. I don't know, man. It's bad news, is what I'm saying. Yeah, and it seems like he's trying to go even further into the death business, because you have Gillian Anderson as his mother being like, hey, this isn't cool. Also, he's lying to the military, right? That's the big thing too, is he hasn't cracked how to bring these things into reality for more than 29 minutes, but he's lying to them he's not telling them that.
Right. So he's getting this demonstration done and getting them out the door before the 29-minute mark, and then his things disintegrate.
Not only is he making death machines, he's defrauding the U.S. military.
Among other people, because it's also implied that there's like a bunch of other like warlords and investors in this.
Well, and then there's that too. He also seems to have no scruples about who he deals weapons to.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, okay, so say he sells this stuff to, I don't know, U.S. military, some highest bidder, Soviet concern, whatever. Weird fucking neon soldiers suddenly start getting videotaped killing people on the battlefield.
Hey man, we talked about, imagine Tron 4 where the world is the grid. What if we have it's Iraq, but there are giant, neon tanks and stuff coming up over sand dunes and attacking? That'd be a cool scene.
And again, the implication here is that we wouldn't, I don't know. You start getting into the logic of whatever a transformative singularity would be for the planet, and you start moving into post-scarcity talk, and it's like, okay, how does the conflict becomes so heady, and exactly what that looks like is beyond, I think, what a traditional action film would be trying to portray.
I do. I mean, look, I think the future of this franchise lies in streaming television, right? And so the idea of something that's a longer form thing that could live in that world and discuss those issues on a more in-depth basis is probably the right call, right?
I would like to hope so, because again, I love me some heady, weird sci-fi that deals with human consciousness and how it collides with technology. I mean, I'm so happy we're going to be getting a Neuromancer show in a little while.
Well, Apple's doing Neuromancer. And Amazon is doing Blade Runner.
And look, I love that shit. Don't get me wrong. You know me. I'm a sucker for a robot trying to be a real boy. Mm-hmm. But
which this movie definitely has aspects of.
Sure, yeah. But treating it as more of a traditional action franchise, it'd be like trying to make an action movie out of Blade Runner, right? You can have action scenes in a Blade Runner, but there's more to it than that.
You could, and you could make an action movie inside of the world of Blade Runner, but it's not what the Blade Runner stories we've gotten have been, certainly.
Sure.
And yeah. So we have these two competing tech geniuses who want to use the same technology for different reasons, right? Basically, it boils down to one wants to save the world, one wants to destroy the world, essentially.
Yeah, again, back to the hand waviness of just one's evil, one's good. We got it. One's red, one's blue. That's how it works.
Yeah, but that's always been the simplicity of Tron to a certain extent, right? It is that thing, like I said, the idea that people think this is eliminating the headiness, maybe of Legacy, but in general, the original Tron implies a lot, but it really is very surface level.
Sure. But at least in terms of like these larger corporations, their own grids become reflections of this ideology that is presented by the movie as just like, no, Dillinger bad, Encom good. Whereas in the original Tron, Encom was full of good and bad, and same with Legacy.
Well, Encom. Well, I mean, the thing that's obviously happened since then is this continual breakdown of this stuff, right? So this movie now takes place in a world of competing tech companies, which obviously existed in the times those other movies made, but it really does feel very. And not to get into like a political thing, but it does sort of seem like technology is maybe at least the way I look at it is morally neutral. It's about the human beings that control it, right? So like none of this tech, the grid is neither good nor bad, but when a Julian Dillinger takes over a certain grid, yeah, it turns red and violent.
Well, and that's the whole point of Jodie Turner-Smith, I mentioned as Athena, is the program that has a lack of complexity. All it has is directives. And so when those directives become heavy-handed and lacking empathy and morals, that's just what the program reflects.
Right. She's not really a villain, right? She's purely under the control of Dillinger. And the problem, of course, is that not purely at least, but, is forced to be.
There's a little bit, she plays I don't know. I go back and forth on whether or not she's wasted in this role. I really like Jodie Turner-Smith. We saw her in The Acolyte as the like elder witch in that show.
Yeah, she was also in Without Remorse, the Tom Clancy. I mean, I've liked her in a bunch. She's on The Agency, which I love.
But she plays this like cold murder machine in this movie. But there are beats here and there, especially when she's interacting with Ares, of just like jealousy, I guess. And that implies a certain amount of capacity for evolution that I guess all programs might possess.
Well, they always do, right? Because they're played by people and they're portrayed, at least on some level, as human, right? In the world of Tron. There's always a little bit of humanity to every program, at the very least. And then I don't think she's wasted in this. I think that she really actually elevates this part quite a bit by the stuff you're talking about. There's a lot of subtle nuance in this character that comes out in her performance.
But she also gets to do the Terminator thing of literally just stone-faced sprinting at somebody and trying to murder them.
Rad. The whole light cycle chase through the city and then into the parking garage, really cool.
The continuous use of the shot in the parking garage of staring straight down to like highlight the passage of time and the ticking clock of the scene, continually used over and over again, was very clever.
Well, the 29-minute impermanence of these things in the real world is a really great screenwriting device for tension, right? Everything has to happen with they find it, because we talk about ticking clocks in screenplays. This movie finds a way to create ticking clocks in a new ticking clock in every action set piece.
And sometimes ticking clocks on top of each other when you have certain characters whose time limit is lower than the other characters.
Right. She's got 3 minutes on Ares, right? And so it's like that kind of stuff is very cool, and just in terms of the pure kineticism of the action sequences.
It also creates the most hand-wavy, don't worry about it thing in this entire film, which is the distance between the weird laser hangar of Dillinger Systems and whatever city this is.
It's less than 29 minutes.
It's less than 29 minutes. That's what we know.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like kind of San Francisco or LA amalgam. I don't know what city this is supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Silicon Valley area, right? I don't know if they actually ever say where it is.
No, they never do.
It is. I mean, it looked like LA to me. As in, that's probably where they filmed it, but
sure. I'm sure. Yeah, the real answer is Burbank, but
sure. It's always Burbank though. Yeah, so all of that stuff, and of course the visual parallels between the grid and then the grid of the city, right?
Sure.
All that stuff is very cool.
The bit when you have all the drones like scorching through the trails inside the city is very cool looking.
Absolutely. This movie was shot quite a bit in Vancouver.
Oh, shocking.
Oh, that makes sense, actually. Why didn't I think of that? It's Vancouver, of course, because everything shoots there because it's dirt cheap. So you get... So, I mean, a lot of the movie becomes this play between... I mean, it's sort of the first movie and the second movie plus, right? Where it's like the stuff from the grid comes into the real world. Eve goes onto the grid. Then they both come back out into the real world. This movie is going back and forth, as opposed to, I think the trailers really leaned into it's the real world, which eventually does become our climax.
Sure.
It's interesting. The trailers really made it seem like the whole movie was the invasion of the grid, and that's really like the last third of the film.
The fact that the original teaser trailer we got for this, which was like the recognizer hovering over the city streets, right? That's the third act, was actually kind of wild to me.
That's the climax of the movie, yeah.
And there's so much more of this movie that is just chase sequences with that 29-minute timer.
This is essentially a chase movie, because once the permanence code is discovered by Eve, and we haven't talked about her pal there, Seth,
played by Arturo Castro.
Who I will say, this movie definitely, I feel like you talked about the marvel of it all. I feel like somebody as the note goes, get some humor in there, because I don't remember a lot of that legacy.
He's the jokey guy. I can cook so many breakfast burritos. I never get tired of them.
I thought he was funny. I laughed.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then I like when they get, when you have him and Hasan Minhaj and the other woman that's in there as
totally forget her name. That was Sarah Desjardins as Erin. I don't even know if they ever say her name out loud.
She's Hasan Minhaj's assistant, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's the one who tells him not to wear the cowboy hat out on stage.
Sure.
But I like when it does get back to, these are still computer programs, so like we have to hack the thing at the end. So they're hacking the thing while the action sequence is playing out, and they're kind of jumping around here, and it's all about breaking into the Dillinger grid.
Yeah, I mean,
getting Dillinger out of the Encom grid, I guess, actually is what it is.
No, they're getting into the Dillinger grid because the idea is to nuke the Dillinger grid, which would stop all of the nascent programs that are running amok in the city because they're still connected back to the Dillinger grid.
There you go.
There was a plot to this movie that I could follow.
I actually think it's the clearest plot of the bunch. That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of the note from Disney here was this thing needs to be much easier to follow on a moment-to-moment basis, because I think they thought...
I thought Legacy was easy enough. Sam Flynn gets transported into the grid. He has to find his way out and resolve his daddy issues while he's at it.
I guess it's not that the plot is complicated, but there's large sections of the movie where the movie has no momentum. And I don't mind this, but there's a lot of... Once they get to like Flynn's area, there's a lot of sitting around and talking theory.
Biodigital jazz, man.
Yeah, which is great, but I can understand why Disney's like, okay, that didn't work. Maybe we leaned too far into heady sci-fi. Because I did see a box office analyst talking about, because some people are being like, well, if they hadn't put Leto in this thing would have been a hit. And somebody goes, no. Like, it didn't. They go, you could have put Gosling in. It's still called Tron. Like, at the end of the day, there's just a ceiling on it. It's the same thing with the Star Trek movies. As much as I love them, Paramount needs to learn there's just a limit, man. It just these aren't going to pull the people.
All right, let's pick the biggest movie star we possibly could and slap a reasonable movie star we possibly could. Because obviously, you put The Rock in the Ares position, it's a totally different vibe for this movie. But
so not Cruise.
So not Cruise, because again, I think that changes the vibe of the film. But
because then
who's the actor you swap out if you follow the argument of replace Leto? Maybe this movie does better.
The guy this person I mentioned said Gosling.
Gosling would be interesting, but like, does it completely change the vibe of the film if you put in like a Ryan Reynolds?
I think at this point it might have made less money. That guy's really. You want to talk about a guy who's really got some ill will from the people these days. The other person, like a Chris Evans, maybe. I, I mean, we're talking, but I don't think, because I also think there's a fundamental, Leto aside, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding from Disney that a movie star was going to make or break Tron to begin with, right?
Sure.
This idea being that they're just these. I'm thrilled, and if they want to keep spending money on Tron movies, I will keep going to them all day. But there does seem to be this idea that it's just like, this is just a franchise with a loyal fan base, but a smaller one.
Yeah. And there is always going to be a like, oh yeah, that looks cool in like 15, 30-second clips, but does anyone want to devote an evening of their time to go out to a film of this?
Well, that's another thing. Or that's cool. I'll watch it on Disney Plus.
That's the other thing, right? Is there is this reaction, and I think it's happening in the Marvel films. I think it's happening in these movies. I know for a fact it's going to happen with the next Star Wars movie, because people associate The Mandalorian with a TV show. So, like, why would they go to the theaters to see that when they've been content to watch it for 3 seasons on their TVs?
Well, I mean, that's kind of just the problem with film, period, now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of the thing is, and it's just inevitable. My big thing on that is just like, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. This idea that we're going to somehow stop that from being, or the people who want to move it to, no, take longer to get stuff to streaming. I'm like, I don't think that's going to help. I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle, sort of thing, right?
Well, it's just a matter of people are willing to wait 6 to 8 months to see a thing, because the only immediacy that people like need to see the thing, I think it's going to be Avengers Doomsday. It's the only thing I can think of in the near future.
And if that thing even remotely underperforms, we're going to be having some very, very, very serious conversations. I think Avatar. I think the third Avatar coming out at the end of this year is going to be an interesting conversation.
Fire and Ash, yeah.
We haven't seen. We had the first Avatar, which made all that money, and then this huge gap, and then people were ready for the second one. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when an Avatar is given to people very quickly. Right? As opposed to, there was so much buildup that people were like, I got to see what Cameron's doing now. But is there going to be a like, oh yeah, we saw the light. You know what? We can wait for this one. I don't know. I'm not predicting anything about it. I'm just saying, like, it'll be interesting to see once Avatar starts to become more normalized and not like, man, it's been 20 years or whatever. It hasn't been 20, but 10 years or whatever since he made that last one. It'll be interesting to see. Because I mean, that's one of the things that people have talked about with Marvel, that they just feel like it just became so like, oh, there's one out every week, I don't have to go to these.
Yeah, and that's fair. And the lack of Avengers event films sort of made it so it's like, it just became noise, basically.
For a lot of people, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, not for us, obviously, because this is as close as we get to religion, but...
Oh, yeah, 100%. But it's yeah. I mean, anytime we talk about a new release movie, we end up having this conversation because it is a huge conversation. It was like, what is the importance of movies in and actually not the
importance of the theatrical experience,
movie going, because movies will always be popular, and people are probably watching more movies than ever. It's just they're mostly doing it in their homes
or on their phones or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing about it is, too, as the business gets tougher for studios, they're also willing to take less risks, which is actually driving more filmmakers towards streaming, right? Because you've got somebody like Guillermo del Toro. Well, no one would make that Frankenstein movie. Guess who would? Netflix. They'll give them the money to make Frankenstein. It's a thing.
The fact that fucking Scorsese did the same thing.
Yeah, Scorsese made a Netflix movie. Scorsese made an Apple movie. And his point was just like, hey, they'll give me the money I need and get out of my way.
Yeah.
I mean, that is sort of a thing where I've seen people talk about, like, aren't you worried you're hurting cinema or whatever? And it's just like, They're letting me make the movies I want. What do you want me to do?
Say what you will about Ridley Scott. I know we both said a lot about Ridley Scott over the years.
I
but
love Ridley Scott, but the man talks a lot.
the only movie he could make in the last like 5 years that could get put into a theater was a Legacy sequel.
But Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Well, they got any kind of play.
Sure.
Some of us saw The Last Duel, but that's neither here nor there.
The one ticket sale to John Campbell was noted.
It was The Last Duel, Gurgandi, the last sanctioned duel.
Okay.
It's a really good
Matt
movie.
Damon had that weird haircut.
People should see The Last Duel. It's a cool
I
movie.
saw it. It was good, but
It's really good. It's really good. And the titular duel, fantastic. Because here's a shock: Ridley Scott really knows how to film swordplay. But like Napoleon, he made for Apple.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean it is an interesting thing where you're starting to see even the titans like Scorsese, like Ridley Scott, go to streaming. Because
I mean, the big one will be Spielberg, right? If that ever happens,
he still is so vehemently against it, right? He's still the guy going, "Those are TV movies," which I love Steven Spielberg. I've called him maybe the greatest filmmaker of all time. It's either him or Scorsese, sort of my opinion. But he's that's old man yells at cloud when he's like, Netflix, they're great, but they're just TV movies. You're like, yeah, Steve, I think the world's maybe leaving you behind, buddy.
yeah,
You're still going, that's just TV. Marty just... I'm like, you want to tell that to Scorsese? The Irishman was just TV. Killers of the Flower Moon was just TV. It's just... It's like anything, right? It's a changing landscape.
Well, it's because the theater experience has become ancillary to the consumption of the medium, right?
Yes.
The consumption of the medium is wholly, almost, I would say, probably 97% of how people consume a given film in the entirety of its existence now is through some kind of streaming service.
Well, that was it. Yes, and that was something I also read another article about the box office of this movie, talking about like it doesn't matter what this movie does. Not that it doesn't matter what this movie does. That's a little excessive. But they're talking about like just Disney making another Tron movie keeps the franchise alive and keeps the theme park section alive, keeps the toys alive. They're talking about regardless of what this movie makes, just having a third Tron movie is a success for Disney. It just the idea that
now Disney Plus can have a marquee tag when this eventually comes out on Disney Plus in 2 weeks, when it slides over on the right side of the carousel and says the Tron series, and there will be 3 films included in that now.
Yeah, and they did a new version of the ride with the Ares characters and aesthetic, so that they can go, hey, you've already ridden the ride, but you haven't ridden the Ares version of the ride. We can now sell hoodies that look like Ares as opposed to the classic. I mean, once again, it just keeps the thing going. This idea...
Turn the light red.
And of course, then it turns, blue at the end of the movie, right?
All right, he turns white.
He turns white because I guess he's the white knight of the thing, right?
Sure.
He is the coolest. He is the best. He is Ares. But
because I believe like white is the color associated with Flynn, because that's the color that Sam and Quora also have.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you're master control or whatever that, but you're a user at that point, right, or whatever, instead of
you've broken beyond the binary of programming is the way I read it.
You are an individual. You're no longer controlled by anything or whatever. You make
complex
your own
and
you don't have to be. It's not good or evil anymore. You are an individual, I guess, is what white is. Anyway, they can
which
sell
again raises a very confusing question about Michael Sheen's character in that. Anyway, moving on.
Michael Sheen, yeah, you gotta put Michael Sheen's character aside. That guy's his own thing, man.
Zeus is his own thing.
Although he's fucking astounding in that second movie, and nobody's, even Jared Leto nobody's as excited to be in Tron as Michael Sheen is.
Michael
Jeez.
Sheen just always brings it. Doesn't matter if he's having sex on a cliff top as a
Oh.
werewolf, or if he's playing a weird, crazy bartender with a laser cane in Tron.
We did all the Twilight movies on Meet the Monsters. He's great. He's great as the main baddie in those. He's so much fun. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like I said, it is an interesting thing. Like, what is these aren't just movies anymore. They are brands, and this does keep the Tron brand alive, kind of regardless of what it makes.
Speaking of brands,
Yeah.
haven't really talked about besides my initial one sentence review. Can we talk about the soundtrack of this film?
Oh yeah. I mean, it rules.
But like, this is our first official 9 Inch Nails album in when was the last 9 Inch Nails album before this?
I don't actually know. Quite a while.
I don't know. How big of a 9 Inch Nails fan are you, John?
Pretty big. I would say pretty big. I don't know. I mean, Trent Reznor in general.
Sure.
I'm a massive fan of.
Before this, we have 2020. We have like the final Ghosts albums. Because I would compare this soundtrack to something very akin to the Ghosts albums that 9 Inch Nails put out, that are like more instrumental, weird, vibey pieces.
Well, it's an interesting thing, right, that this is 9 Inch Nails, because of course Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have been primarily working in film scores for I think the first one was Social Network.
Was it Social Network or A Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
No, it's Social Network, because Fincher made that after. I'm a fairly big 9 Inch Nails fan, but obviously I bleed for Fincher, so I'll know which. Yeah, but and Fincher was the guy to kind of popular, because he had done some of their music videos as well too. He's had a long association with them. But it is interesting that they are. I mean, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross essentially are 9 Inch Nails, but they normally compose movie music as just their names. This is the first time they've made a movie under the moniker of 9 Inch Nails. Keeping with the tradition of Tron, though, right? Which is the first movie had Journey, the second movie had Daft Punk, and now 9 Inch Nails, I guess makes sense.
And look, I'm not saying that this tops the Daft Punk soundtrack for Legacy, because that is a artifact of art unto itself. But this soundtrack does slap.
I might like this one more, though, just as music, in terms of I just like 9 Inch Nails if I'm going to put something on.
Sure, and I guess I lean more electronica than industrial.
Yeah, I really like the driving rock guitar and stuff nature of this. Man, when this thing comes up in especially once again, if you see it in IMAX, this soundtrack literally slaps. You are impacted by it.
Yeah, you feel it thrumming in your bones, and it does it in a very impactful way. Obviously, Tron has this kind of legacy, pardon the pun, of soundtracks that are trying to fit the time, whereas this is definitely more of a throwback, it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, I do also kind of wonder, once again, what's the target audience for this? Because kids don't give a shit about 9 Inch Nails.
No, I know, right? But guys like you and me, when the first trailer came up and it said music by 9 Inch Nails, we looked at each other and went, holy shit, this is gonna rule.
Well, and it just much like the Daft Punk score in the last movie, it's so integrated into, like, you can't separate the visuals from the music, right? They so build on each other in this way. And when you get these battle sequences and just the rocking, driving part of it, you are just like, wow. That's why I said, I think I said this, you can follow me on Letterboxd if you want my reviews of movies. I think I called this, though, this movie's a feast for the senses. The visuals, the sound, you are just like, I was so, especially seeing it in a giant screen with the sound, I was so like, wow. I was so transported by this movie. All the big moments land, and a lot of that is the score.
Yeah, I think it would be, like I said, I think it is a really good 9 Inch Nails soundtrack.
Well, and they announced them pretty early, so I mean, I think it was a thing.
The first teaser had it like right at the end was NIN music by.
But I think, it feels like a movie where I don't know when they started writing the score, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least pieces of the score were done as they were shooting, because it feels like it's so integrated.
Or at the very least, like everything in post was done with the score in mind.
Like it just, yeah, everything about it is built from the ground up, it feels like.
And who knows, maybe that's just really good scoring, because a really good score can be done long after the movie is done shooting and feel like it was always meant to be there, right? Like John Williams is kind of famously good at that.
I mean, and there are times that Spielberg has, at least been like, give me the themes before the movie, just from the script. Or Giacchino did that for the Batman. At least the main Batman theme was written before the movie shot. It's always an interesting thing. But yeah, it's amazing. Once again, I'm a huge film score nerd, and the Reznor and Ross scores of the last 10 years or so have all been. It's a special thing when they do a score to me. I right from that Social Network score that sounded like nothing I'd ever heard in a movie before.
Sure. And they just do so much work. Like, I could list off 10 movies right now that I would say probably a lot of people probably haven't seen, but they're just putting out work. But then every other little while, there'll be one that's just like, holy shit, blows everybody away.
I think number one, I think Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is an underrated movie to begin with, and their soundtrack is amazing. I don't think a lot of people know they did the score to the Watchmen show, which is excellent.
Totally, yeah.
And I've mentioned before how much I love their Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem score. I think is really very good. Hearing their take on like superhero music, because it is soaring in a way that I don't necessarily associate with them, but still very much them.
Totally, yeah.
But yeah, the interesting thing about this is the first one they've done as Nine Inch Nails.
And Atticus Ross obviously did like a lot of work on Shogun, and the soundtrack for that was just so good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's really interesting that they have not abandoned rock music by any means, but have become really go to, because for a while it was just they did Fincher movies, right? And it was sort of like, well, that's kind of Fincher's thing. But they've both expanded out into being, legitimate, in-demand film composers.
It's interesting that like the art of being a composer is really so heavily tied with the medium of film in a lot of ways. Like, I am sure there are just musical theatrical composers who are composing symphonies and whatnot, but the ones who have like household names aren't your Chopin and your Mozarts anymore. They're your John Williams and your Atticus Rosses.
And John Williams has done non-film just compositions, but those don't get the play. I mean,
sure. Hans Zimmer's the same way.
Yeah, if you, I highly recommend, if people haven't seen on Disney Plus, there's a documentary about John Williams that's amazing called Music by John Williams. And he talks about that. That's like when he plays the concerts, though, they want to hear Star Wars, I mean,
sure.
and he was the first guy to do that, though. He was the first guy to be able to tour with film music. That wasn't a thing prior to John Williams. People didn't pay to go hear the scores to movies. Nobody gave a shit. Williams was kind of the first guy that people were really like, oh, it's a John Williams score. Like, it used to just be like, whatever, who cares? Their music goes in movies.
Now I paid for a hotel for a weekend to go see Hans Zimmer up in Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys going to, Carpenter tours, right? I mean,
I want to see Carpenter so bad.
Yeah. And by the way, I love Carpenter's albums that he puts out of original music now, which are just might as well be soundtracks to Carpenter movies that don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. True. Yeah. And actually, what's interesting? He now doesn't direct. He just works as a composer.
Doesn't his son also have some kind of music career?
Well, he plays with him.
Yeah,
He tours with him. His son. They both and they did all the Halloween, the David Gordon Green Halloween movies. They did the Firestarter remake, which is terrible.
He was just featured on one of my favorite electronica bands, actually. Gunship had John Carpenter
that makes sense,
highlighted on one of their albums.
I mean, they're very Carpenter inspired.
Oh, totally. Shit, there's that whole band, Carpenter Brute.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about it. Like for a guy who basically was like, "Oh, I did my own scores to save money." Like he's never, up until recently, I don't think he's ever really thought of himself as much of a musician. It was more just like, well, if I do it, then I don't have to pay somebody else to do it. And then ended up creating like an entire sound that's inspired generations and stuff like that. So
Totally.
yeah, he's an interesting guy. I wish he would direct again, but he's so fucking hates the industry.
Well, and he's much happier smoking weed and playing video games, so I don't blame him.
I do love anytime he's just like, I've got a lot of video games to play, you guys. Do you have any idea how good these video games are? And he's more than happy to, sell the rights to something. Because there's like, don't you get upset when they remake your movies and the worst? He's like, I don't care. They send me a check.
Good for
him.
him.
I give a shit. And also, as he always points out, if it's worse, then everybody just goes, you did it better, and I still win. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Love that guy.
You think that Escape from New York remake will ever happen?
I don't know. I do like the guys who are currently attached to do it. The guys who did Ready or Not and Abigail.
Ready or Not was so much fun.
Ready or Not is great. Abigail's a blast. They have the right sensibility. I don't know, though. So many people have tried to do that. And
you just get Wyatt Russell. Do you just lean into it?
I mean, I would, yeah. The thing about it, though, is, I mean, and this is always my thing, is the thing with Tron to some extent. Although Tron, one of the things I do like about Tron, and I said this in the review I posted as well, is I do like that each of these movies builds on the one before it, but has its own identity.
Yeah.
There's sort of a new aesthetic to each one, and they're sort of a different flavor, but they're all still telling this gigantic story of the grid. And really, the main character is the grid, right, in concept.
Or just the idea that there is this, let's be totally honest here, a fantasy world within this creation of man. I mean,
it's what the poster of the original movie is, right? The world inside the computer that no human has ever visited, never until now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that will never not be cool. Honestly, that's just like the idea of it.
If you really analyze what's happening here, it is more fantasy than it is sci-fi.
Yeah, because I mean, because the sci-fi idea of it is, there's a world, it's all in computers, but then from there, it's all just like, and it's this whole world, right?
And it might as well be magic, like how a light cycle functions. And again, more hand waviness of just like, yeah, and it creates this beam of light behind it. Now, how does that function in the world? Don't worry, it does. It's techno magic.
Yeah. This one, the other thing with the Ares of it all also gave me a lot of superhero vibes for the first time.
Yeah.
Real like the idea about having to accept your powers and fight the villains and stuff like that.
And fighting the system that you were technically programmed by because you have a larger understanding of the world now. There's superhero stuff in there. There's some class and like political stuff in there, but it's all very like lightly sprinkled on top of the action.
Yeah, it's still this is still meant to be a crowd pleasing 4-quadrant blockbuster, right? There, and I think you'll go and if you go, you'll have a good time. I really do think this one's a blast. I dug it. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's the zippiest. Once again, this is the most action movie of the bunch.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed this film. I think it was fine. Again, Jared Leto is a hurdle that I have to get over because I find some disgusting qualities in the man. And if you agree with me on that, then maybe don't see Tron Ares, but I will say I wholeheartedly and full-throatedly recommend the album. I listened to the album all the way through before I saw the movie, and I didn't necessarily regret it. So
I purposely didn't because I wanted to associate it in the movie, but that's that's me. Hey, we'll talk about Jared Leto next year when he plays Skeletor, though.
Yeah, honestly, maybe like the best role he could have achieved for himself is the skull-faced villain.
I will say about him, that makes more sense to me because I think this and Morbius, him as a leading man is kind of a weird. He hasn't been that up to this point in his career. He is a strange character actor.
Sure. Yeah. And maybe there's a reason for that.
I don't, I mean, or doing stuff where he is, because he's been the lead and stuff, but weirder roles. It is interesting that he's sort of late, because he's in his 50s. Now is the time for like action leading man that he's trying to be, or that he's tried a couple, is interesting because most of his career is filled with, like, if he's been the lead, it's been in indies where he's still weird.
Yeah. But
it's
he fits more squarely in my mind in something like Blade Runner 2049, where he's this like weird misanthrope in that world.
He's great in 2049 as the guy who sees only through drones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, you know what? I'll say that I think this is the first time I haven't heard anybody talk about any weird method shit on this movie. I don't think he tried to get in a computer or anything.
I'm just wondering if they like constructed the production of this film to try to prevent any of that.
Because I'm just like in 2049, he really wore contacts that made him actually blind.
Sure.
And of course, there's the Morbius stuff about him using the crutches, even though it took him a half hour to go to the bathroom then. And stuff like that. Here, I haven't heard anything about, other than Jeff Bridges going like, he's a strange cat, man. He is one strange cat, I gotta tell you.
Pot, meat, kettle.
He goes, but I dug him.
Sure.
When did Jeff Bridges become the dude? Where in his career did he and that character merge?
After True Grit.
Because there is a certain point where it's just like, okay, he's really just talking like that now.
I'm not even joking. I think it is after True Grit, he just sort of becomes the dude.
Because even when he shows up in this movie, this Flynn, we haven't really talked about that. This Flynn that's like Zen god creature is just Jeff Bridges, right? When he's like, hey, man.
Yeah.
What's up?
Like, I don't know. He is that in Bad Times at the El Royale. He's that in, what was that? The Giver.
Hey, man, I'm giving you something. It's going to be weed. I don't know if you saw, I highly recommend, if people haven't seen the clip of him on Kimmel promoting this movie where he brought the dude back. He put on the sweater to talk to America as the dude.
Nice.
He goes, it's time to get ice out of our streets and back in our beverages, man.
I'm glad he's got a good sense of humor about it.
If there's one thing that guy's got, it's a sense of humor. I don't think that true. I don't get the sense he takes himself too seriously. Unlike maybe a Jared Leto. I would have killed to have been on set to see those two interact, because I can't think of a more like serious and intense dude than Leto and a more laid back whatever kind of guy than Bridges.
Look, maybe Leto has just found that place in his career when he's just like, or I could just try acting. How about that?
Hey man, he got his Oscar, so
Yeah.
And he lost all that weight.
Sure.
Because that's acting. If you look at the Academy Awards, gaining or losing weight is most of what good acting is.
I guess.
Have I mentioned my issues with the Academy? Yes, I believe I have. Anyway, so that's Tron Ares.
Yeah, Tron Ares, pretty good.
Super
we
fun.
have differing opinions, but yeah.
But I think its major strengths I think we agree on, which is its visuals, its sound. It is quite the film, and once again, I think if you're talking about stuff that should be seen in a big theater, this definitely has that.
Or wait 2 weeks. Either way.
No, don't wait 2 weeks. This thing really...
Get a good pair of headphones. Wait 2 weeks.
This thing is really designed to be seen big and loud. All right. We know what we're talking about next month. Maybe we did. I don't know if we do. That's what
we don't make any promises anymore, John. We've said this.
No, because some months aren't anything. Although I think there was something, but I can't recall what it was now. Real quick, Gergoni, just at the end here, because we almost talked about this. Is that did you finish Peacemaker?
Peacemaker, good.
Peacemaker, good. Yes, agreed. I really enjoyed season 2.
Did you like the first season of Peacemaker? You'd like the second season of Peacemaker.
There's a lot of people who are really mad at the end of it that it didn't go bigger.
It left him. Never mind. I don't want to spoil anything. Go watch Peacemaker. It's good.
I had no issue with the idea that Gunn. Most of the episode is very character based as opposed to a massive smash 'em up. I
liked that, and like I'm left. My quibbles with the season are more that it just left me with questions that I really hope that the first season ended, and that could have been it for Peacemaker. And like, if we never saw it again, I would have been satisfied. This season ends, and I'm like, well, we got to have a season 3, right?
There will be no season 3, according to James Gunn. Not of Peacemaker.
Interesting. Okay.
I have some theories.
Movie?
Oh, I think there's going to be a show called Checkmate, but that maybe is just...
I see. Okay.
That's what I think, is that he's telling the truth that there's no third season of Peacemaker.
Sure.
But maybe
okay. I got you. A wink.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. Yeah. There's our quick thoughts on Peacemaker. Peacemaker, good.
Peacemaker, good.
James Gunn, do good again.
James Gunn is good.
He's very good. I like that guy. Hot take. I think that guy's talented.
That comment fits right into the same category of just like, oh yeah, Man of Tomorrow isn't going to be a Superman film. Wink.
Well, it's not going to be a Superman sequel. It's not a sequel to that movie. That's what
sure, right.
It will be the next saga, or the next entry in the Superman saga.
Whatever. But like, we can be as pedantic as we want to, James Gunn.
I think his mindset writing these things is very important to him, right? I think that's what he's describing a lot of the time. Is like, I am not thinking of this as the sequel to that movie. I'm thinking of this as a new movie with Superman.
But when people say sequel or next season, what they really mean are the stories of these characters continuing, and the answer is yes.
Yeah, because I think he looks at it, and he's talked about that Peacemaker season 2 also is like, it's actually the beginning of what the whole next part of the DCU is about.
Sure, and I can see all that stuff with all the, again, don't want to spoil anything. So, like, I absolutely see what he's talking about there.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, if you want to hear more from us, you can head over to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/punchupent. That's PunchUpENT. Get cool exclusive bonus content, as well as how about all the shows on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. Your support is greatly appreciated if you're one of our patrons. We love you.
We love all of our viewers / listeners, but we love the patrons just a little bit more.
Just a little bit. You know, we don't have parents don't have favorite children, but there are ones that maybe we like just a skosh more. So
anyway, they're the ones where we send them off to a sleepover and we let out oh, thank God, we get a night to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So head over there because we got lots of fun stuff over there, including archives of old episodes, exclusive bonus shows, and lots of fun stuff and new content always showing up on there. It's crazy how much we put up there. What a deal.
Speaking of which, you can also find us over on YouTube, youtube.com/@punchupentertainment. There you can get our YouTube exclusive content. So much content. The content gun is just loaded for bear and firing straight into your face.
People are like, you can't. And we're like, we will.
We must. And while you're there, please like, comment, subscribe. Yeah. Let us know in the comments below. How are you going to view Tron Ares? Are you going to view it at all? I'd be curious to get people's opinions on like their approach and the methodology of like how they think about a Tron movie. Are you only experiencing Tron Ares through our conversation? I know that's not a zero number.
No, I mean, like I said, Tron is such a specific thing, right? The fandom for Tron is... Because I did read somebody, we talked about that mid-credit scene. I saw somebody go, there's a mid-credit scene for 6 people. I'm like, and 2 of them are Mike Gergoni and me. Where I was like, yes! The helmet from... I was cheering for a helmet, you know?
Yeah, the outline of a helmet at best.
Yeah, the idea of a helmet even. So anyway, yeah, check that out. But I think that's going to do it for this month's Panel Up. I've been John Campbell.
And I will always be Mike Gargoni.
So next month, we're going to panel down.